The smartest film critic in the world, Cole Smithy.
Hi, this is Cole Smithy with ColeSmithy.com and your guide to what to see and what to avoid at the movies this week. The greatest rock band you've never heard of, Big Star, was every rock critic's darling during the early 70s.
Every 10 years there's a big star, and there was Elvis in the 50s and the Beatles in the 60s, and now's the time, and that was 2 years ago.
The Memphis rock outfit recorded 3 records that all made it into Rolling Stone magazine's list of top 500 albums of all time. Led by the now legendary Alex Chilton and Chris Bell, Big Star could have been bigger than the Beatles or the Stones had fortune favored them in correlation with their musical gifts. The group's catchy but complicated pop songs became a touchstone for generations of diverse musicians, from Nick Lowe to John Doe of X to Michael Stipe of R.E.M. to Paul Westerberg of The Replacements.
Ever heard, and you can't find it in a record store.
They didn't last for very long, and they didn't tour very much.
Co-directors Drew DeNicola and Oliva Mori used the standard documentary form to deliver a haunting soup-to-nuts history of Big Star that will have you humming songs like September Girls in your sleep. The filmmakers go into loving detail regarding Alex Chilton's mixed bag of solo excursions with the punk band The Pantherburns and Chilton's producing efforts on behalf of the Memphis-inspired punkabilly group The Cramps, as well as relating Chris Bell's personal musical explorations, which led to the unforgettable song I Am the Cosmos. A tasteful labor of love, Big Star Nothing Can Hurt Me is an enthusiastic documentary about enigmatic musicians whose music still sounds as fresh and essential today as when it was first recorded.
Deeper within yourself, and that is the best thing about the Big Star story.
Whether or not you're familiar with Big Star or not, this movie will go right to your heart. I give this perfect music documentary an A+.
Duncan, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think you are?
A 6.
I think you're a 3.
The Way, Way Back is a standard issue coming-of-age comedy with flashes of inspired humor. Witness everything that Allison Janney does with her supporting role as a middle-aged floozy named Betty.
I don't see you putting yourself out there, bud. You can try to get that score up at my beach house this summer.
14-year-old Duncan, played by Liam James, ambivalently anticipates a tedious beachside summer vacation with his divorced mom, Pam, played by Toni Collette, and her piece-of-work boyfriend, Trent, played by Steve Carell. During the ride in Trent's station wagon, Carell's slimy character sets the tone for the movie when he asks Duncan how he rates himself on a scale from 1 to 10. 6, Duncan replies after some blank thought. Trent corrects him. You're really more of a 3. Granted, Duncan hasn't yet begun to come out of his shell. Trent's denigrating behavior is the kind of over-the-top shenanigan to which sons of divorced moms are subjected to when the moms aren't the best judges of character.
Yeah, but you know what? Don't come down. Just stand there brooding.
Fortunately for Duncan, there's a cute girl, delightfully played by Anna Sophia Robb, who lives next door to the house in which he's staying with his piecemeal family unit. Trent has brought along his own teenage daughter, who treats Duncan with even less respect than her old man does. A kinder and funnier father figure for Duncan comes along in the guise of Owen, played by Sam Rockwell, the slacker manager of a local water park called, get this, the Water Whiz. Owen takes one look at Duncan and immediately assesses what the kid needs to build some self-esteem. Owen innocently razzes Duncan after giving him a job to come to every day, even if you could hardly call toiling at a water park work when it's in the company of Sam Rockwell. The Way, Way Back makes no pretense about being anything other than a movie targeted to a teen audience in need of some commiseration for the crappy way many get treated by their parents and their ridiculous mating partners. The comedy achieves these modest goals, and that's all it needs to accomplish.
You got a hell of a kid here.
Here's a low-key personal comedy that might help a few depressed teenagers get through an otherwise joyless summer. That's a valuable thing. I give this good coming-of-age comedy a B. My sleeper pick is Big Star, Nothing Can Hurt Me, and my guilty pleasure pick is Stuck in Love. My must-have DVDs are the Up series from First Run Features, The Life of Oharu from the Criterion Collection, and Admission from Universal Studios. Inspired by Federico Fellini's 8½, Annie Hall contains the seeds of the deconstructionist template that Woody Allen has avidly pursued throughout much of his career.
He's been depressed. All of a sudden he can't do anything.
Why are you depressed, Alvy?
Tell Dr. Flicker.
Allen's seventh film as a director, co-written with collaborator Marshall Brickman, was the result of an elaborate screenwriting process that abandoned a murder mystery plot in favor of an existential romantic approach in order to embrace the comedian's self-reflexive humor from multiple angles. Animation, split-screen sequences, inner titles, inner monologues, and fourth-wall breaking asides add to the film's rollicking quality. Allen introduces the film with a stand-up comic soliloquy given directly to the camera. Pain is written on his face. He dresses in the autumnal colors and style of a New England professor speaking before a class of sleepy college students. After a couple of vaudeville-style jokes about his quirky outlook on life, Allen's alter ego, Alvy Singer, cracks his knuckles and shifts gears into a confessional mode about his recent breakup with Annie. Alvy, a Jewish leftist with a constant need to snivel, is consumed with sifting through the pieces of his broken relationship to figure out where the screw-up occurred. An actual clip from a Woody Allen appearance on the Dick Cavett television show adds a note of realism. In-the-know audiences, hip to the fact that Woody Allen and Diane Keaton had been romantically linked prior to the making of the film, were naturally inclined to read between the lines. The structure is a series of time-flipping flashback vignettes leading up to and including Alvy's year-long relationship with Annie Hall, played by Diane Keaton, a free-spirited example of the 70s feminist ideal, albeit of the Gentile variety. A brief sequence about Alvy's depressed childhood spent growing up in a Brooklyn house beneath the Coney Island roller coaster during World War II provides a literal window into his hyper-verbally expressed tangle of neuroses. Even at the age of 6, Alvy had girls on the brain and contempt for every one of his classmates. Alvy's obsession with sex, death, and a compulsive need to dissect every social interaction into an unrecognizable distortion follows him throughout every waking moment. At 40, Alvy suffers from a midlife crisis that finds him incapable of peacefully coexisting in a lasting way with any of the younger, sometimes much younger, women he dates. Like the Groucho Marx joke Alvy tells as representative of his philosophy, "I would never want to be a part of a club that would have me as a member," he paints himself into a self-defeating corner to keep a distance from the romantic closeness that he compulsively flirts with. At heart, Alvy Singer is a romantic dilettante. He dabbles at dabbling.
No. No.
Really? Who was?
Oh, well, let's see. There was Dennis from Chippewa Falls High School.
Annie Hall is filled with classic jokes and comic set pieces that have entered into common parlance, yet still retain their comic power regardless of how many times you've seen the movie. The joy of being reduced to a cultural stereotype is up there with discovering a spider the size of a Buick in the bathroom. Thanks for watching, and visit ColeSmithy.com for more.